morning. Welcome to session 9, Economics of Solar PV. Past 2 days, the presentation were mainly on PV technology from cell to module. Now we will look from another perspective. We will focus on geopolitics of energy, socio-economic impacts of PV technology, financing models, and also CPV on market share. There will be 5 presentations. Our first speaker is Dr. Huzur Keskin from Middle East Technical University. As our keynote speaker, I want to introduce Dr. Huzur Keskin. Dr. Huzur Keskin graduated from Middle East Technical University and completed her master and PhD degree on banking and finance in Marmara University, Istanbul. Dr. Keskin has professional business experience in capital and money markets with funding of direct investment projects. Her talk will be on geopolitics of energy. Now, it is your turn, Dr. Keskin.
Good morning. At first, I would like to wishing a healthy and happy day to all of you. And also I would like to start my speech with the James Williams saying, who is the president of the West Texas Research Group Energy Economics President. And he's saying that there are 3 rules for forecasting oil prices. The first one is never mention a price and the date in the same talk. And the second one is if you can't forecast well, forecast often. And if you're ever lucky enough to get it right, don't let anyone forget it. And as you know that the oil price shocks that started in the 1970s made the world quickly realize the risk of uncertain energy supply and the importance of energy in economic development. In fact, the energy economy did not develop as a branch of economics until after the 1973 oil price shock. But today we can see that energy economics is a recognized field with the degree programs at the undergraduate, graduate and doctoral levels. For the decades, geopolitics of energy has largely been synonymous with oil and gas geopolitics. It made some sense to focus on how oil and gas shape the way states developed, interact with each other from alliance and wage war. Oil and gas account for more than half of global energy consumption and has captured about 70% of the total investment in energy supply in recent years. The world's transportation systems and therefore national economies are almost entirely dependent on oil resources. Yet the geopolitical and global energy economy is changing the traditional definition of geopolitics in the effect of geography on the foreign relations of states. However, the role of non-state actors in international relations has both grown and become better known in recent years. Leaders and policymakers are increasingly consumed by international threats that pose challenges for multiple countries and cross borders. Cyber and terrorism are 2 of the most important examples besides climate change. At the same time, many of the concerns of previous decades have resurfaced in recent years as the challenges to the international order that had dominated since the end of World War II increased. The great power conflict, though unimaginable only a few years ago, is now again in the realm of the possible. Meanwhile, the cost of solar and wind power have dropped significantly, helping renewable energy make significant entries into the global energy mix. Alternative fuel vehicle sales were still small and percentage of the total vehicle sales, but rose sharply, especially in China. The cross-border renewable energy trade has caused international tensions, including solar energy trade disputes between the European Union and China and the United States and India. Investment in renewable energy crosses international borders and in some cases surpasses fossil energy investments. In non-energy companies are investing in major renewable energy projects around the world, such as, for example, Google's investment in the Lake Turkana wind energy project in Kenya, which is Africa's largest wind farm and the largest single private investment in Kenyan history. Distributed renewable energy helps alleviate energy poverty. And in India, more than 10,000 remote villages benefit from solar power, with more than 1 million households securing basic electricity throughout distributed renewable energy alone. As I mentioned before, for a century the geopolitics of energy has been synonymous with oil and gas geopolitics. However, both geopolitics and the global energy economy are changing. The international order that has prevailed since the end of World War II is faced with the increasing challenges. At the same time, renewable energy is growing rapidly. However, the geopolitics of renewable energy has received relatively little attention, especially given the far-reaching consequences of global transition to renewable energy. There are mechanisms by which renewable energy can shape geopolitics. The first, we can say, this mechanism, the first one is critical material supply chains. As the transition to renewable energy accelerates, cartels can evolve around materials critical to renewable energy technologies. Even if these cartels fail to achieve the kind of impact that OPEC did in the oil market in the 1970s, they can have an impact on consumers of these materials. It is widely used in clean energy technologies, including rare earths, solar panels, and wind turbines. Although rare earths are around in many countries around the world, they are often found in dilute concentrations and are often difficult to extract. Today, almost all mining, production, and processing of rare earths is carried out in China. Lithium, cobalt, and indium are also widely used in clean energy technologies and may offer opportunities for cartelization in some cases. The other mechanism is in technology and finance. In a world where renewable energy is the dominant energy source, capital for investment and technology can increasingly become a source of international cooperation, or we can say a kind of a competition. First, we can say increased tension between the developing and developed countries can develop through technology transfer. We can say the second one, conflict over renewable energy infrastructure could develop, especially if new asymmetric dependencies arise between major producers and consumers of renewable energy. Finally, the more decentralized center of renewable energy expansion. It is not clear whether it will involve the transition to competent and distributed energy generation, similar to farming, or larger companies similar to mobile phone manufacturing with financial and the scientific influence to keep up with an intense global race to continually improve technology and cost reduction. The prevalence of the resource curves can be affected by the rise of renewable energy in the last three ways. First, as oil and gas lose their dominance in the energy mix, petrol states will lose access to high rents associated with the resource curves. Second, there is a question of whether countries that produce large quantities of renewable energy will be subject to the resource curves, such as major oil and gas producers do. However, since the requirements for the development of renewable energy sources are quite different from the oil sector, it is also possible for countries that produce renewable energy for export to actually have more diverse economies than they would otherwise. There is a potential for a new resource curse in countries rich in rare earths. Another important mechanism, we can say, electric grid system. Renewable energy technologies can lead to larger electricity connections between countries, more widely distributed energy generation, or both. The potential geopolitical implications are complex. On the other hand, more cross-border electricity trading could create geopolitical vulnerabilities for electricity importance. On the other hand, more more electricity connection can reduce conflict risk by increasing interdependence between nations. Renewable energy technologies will affect the vulnerability of electricity grids to cyber attacks and potentially create new vulnerabilities, while at the same time increasing resilience with larger microgrids and distributed energy technologies. Decreasing demand for oil and gas can have significant geopolitical consequences to the extent that renewable energy reduces the demand for oil and gas. For oil and gas producers, the decline in income from fossil fuel energy exports could provide an impetus for political reform and economic diversity. However, the drop in oil income can also lead to political instability, especially in the short and medium term. Consumer countries will improve their trade balance and maneuver space in the international system. The development of renewable energy is already a game changer for energy security in Chile, Jordan, Morocco, and some island states. To avoid climate change, reduce greenhouse gas emissions as a result of the increased use of renewable energy should logically reduce the risk of conflict and instability that would otherwise be caused by climate change. One region where large-scale distribution of renewable energy can have significant geopolitical consequences, for example, in Africa. Sustainable energy access to modern forms of energy is one of the prerequisites for achieving sustainable development. The geopolitical implications of access to energy are important, as this access can contribute to lasting solutions to instability and conflict. It is possible that renewable energy not only have an impact on geopolitics, but also geopolitics can affect renewable energy investments by increasing the cost of capital, especially in risky and institutionally unstable environments. It has long been clear for strategists and policymakers that energy is an important driver of foreign affairs. For nearly a century, the intersection between energy and geopolitics has centered around the fossil fuels. And this my speaking suggests the importance of renewable energy as a significantly growing part of the global energy mix could have significant ramifications for geopolitics. After highlighting the significant uncertainty involved in predicting how the transition to renewable energy will affect the political situation in the world, it should be noted that uncertainty does not necessarily mean conflict. There is a reason to believe that global energy system dominated by renewable energy will be more stable, peaceful, and more dominated fossil fuels and nuclear energy, at least in the long term. However, the projection of the future is a little bit hard, but we know that renewable energy geopolitics will start to change all the roles and all the rules for recent years. Thank you very much for your attention in this morning, and thank you very much for your listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keskin. Now, I am looking for a question. I think There is no question from audience. I have one question concerning the energy transition and concerning Turkey. What is your opinion for 2050?
Good morning, Aynur Hocam.
Because there are so many scenarios for energy transition and for 100% renewable energy share. I wonder your opinion as an economic expert for Turkey.
I understand that your question is about the percentage of the renewable energy in the whole energy production of Turkey. Am I right?
No, for energy transition and to reach 100% renewable energy for 2050.
2050. Okay.
Yes. For
Okay. It's a very difficult question, Hocam. Okay, so according to forecasting, I know that some numbers and percentage, especially the from the Exxon or BP or these kinds of companies, big companies, they have some prediction about the 2030. For example, in 2030, when we can say the percentage for fossils and or renewable energy, still fossil oil and gas and will be a king, will continue to be a king. Because of their percentage. Their both oil and natural gas percentage is over 50%. And they are, according to their prediction, in 2030. In my opinion, of course, this is the so subjective, and there is no any exercise or any concrete source. But in my opinion, renewable energy 2050 could be 40% or 30%, we can say, but oil and gas will continue have their power, but of course they lose, and because of this reason, because of the, as for example, in this year we experienced that the oil price is very low and historically low, and I'm sure that oil and gas markets will be changed because of the renewable energy roles, because renewable energy roles will increase, and these increasing affect the price of the oil and gas sources, and also marketing and downstream or upstream effects. And we will see that the electricity or the energy costs will be reduced, and it affects the geopolitical powers will be changed. And but in my opinion, in 2050, there is still, we will see some oil and gas, especially in industry, but maybe in transportation, we can say that after 2025, because there are very important decisions taken by the European countries and also the China, because they really try to decrease the increase the electrical cars. So we will see in transportation sector renewable energy. It will depend on the renewable energy, but we will see still oil and natural gas, especially the industry side and heating, most probably we will see them. But in 2050, I really would like to say that, okay, renewable energy will be the 60% or 70%, but in my opinion, it's not so possible. Maybe we can see that 40% or 45%. It's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you very much again. to
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr.
Have a nice and healthy days to all. Thank you very much.
Also the same. Our second speaker is Dr. Yelda Erden Topal from Polytechnical University of Madrid. Dr. Yelda Topal has her bachelor in economy at Hacettepe University, then completed master and PhD degree in Middle East Technical University, and she is a member of Middle East Technical University, and now is a postdoctoral researcher at Polytechnical University of Madrid. Her presentation will be on review of socioeconomic impacts of PV technology development in the developing country context. Please, Dr. Yelda.
Thanks for the introduction, Aynur Hocam. I will make a live presentation. I guess you can see my presentation.
Yes.
There's no problem, I hope. Okay. Yes. First of all, I would like to welcome you all. I am Yelda Erden Topal from Middle East Technical University, and I am now as a postdoctoral researcher in Spain. Today, I will present you the review of socioeconomic impacts of PV technology development. This is a case study starting very recently about a Turkish technology, Turkish photovoltaic technologies platform research program. And it will be a group work that will be conducted from the researchers and interdisciplinary group from Middle East Technical University. This is the content of the presentation. First of all, I will give you a brief information about the background information for this impact assessment and technology platform. Then I will briefly state the research questions of this impact assessment. Then I will review the socioeconomic impacts of technology development from the literature review that is generated for research programs in general. Then I will specifically focus on the expected impact of Turkish technology platform social impacts. And then I will conclude with the suggested methodology of this social impact assessment for TFTP, Turkish Photovoltaic Technology Platform. In which situation, in which context we started this study. Globally, in 2018, the share of fossil fuels in primary energy consumption is approximately 80%, and non-fossil fuels is approximately 16%. And the share of renewable energy in primary energy consumption rised from approximately 7% to approximately 9% from 2000 to 2018. And the share of emerging renewable energy sources, by this we mean solar and renewable solar and wind energy, sum up to approximately 2% in total. This is promising, but we have to do more because it's a very little number for emerging renewable energy sources and technologies. In Turkey, the share of imports in total energy supply is approximately 80% in 2018, and again 80% in 2019. The import rates of fossil fuels, of natural gas, petroleum, and solid fuels are very high, as you see from the figures. And the imports cost in 2018 mainly emerged from the energy sources, approximately 20%. And in electricity generation in 2018, the share of imported fossil fuels are approximately 70%, and it's a high number. What does that mean? On the other hand, in Turkish renewable energy landscape in 2020, we can see high installed power capacities and high increases from 2013 to 2020. I compared 2013 with updated figures because 2013 is more or less the starting point for especially the solar energy generation and legal frameworks. As you see, the solar energy is 0 in 2013, but now approximately 6.5 thousand megawatts, a huge increase we see. And that's a good landscape for solar energy, but again, we have to do more because the numbers are very high, very low, unfortunately. So in Turkish landscape, the problem is import dependency for fossil fuels. This brings sustainable and clean energy supply once more to the fore. In parallel to Turkey's energy policy strategies that focus on the energy security, wider use of domestic energy sources, and manufactured locally, and competitive energy markets dominated by private sector. So the solution in this context can be increasing the rate of environmental clean and alternative energy in the energy bundle by the technologies developed in-house. So this is the main focus of our impact assessment project. For this purpose, renewable electricity generation by locally manufactured energy equipments can be supported. To this end, emerging renewable electricity generation technologies, such as PV technologies, should be promoted. So this is the starting point of our work. Increasing renewable electricity generation by national developed PV technologies is the focus of Turkish Photovoltaic Technology Platform research program. And to evaluate this research program, this TFTP platform, we will conduct socioeconomic impact assessment. Which factors we will evaluate in this impact assessment? We will derive these factors from the from the literature review by specific focus on Turkish photovoltaic technology platform and research area. So these are our research questions. What are the socioeconomic impacts of technology development? Which of these impacts can be observed in Turkish photovoltaic technology platform, and how can we do this impact assessment? This is a starting work we haven't conducted yet, and we will start very recently. So I'm presenting it as from the beginning. Okay. What are the socioeconomic impacts of research programs? Research programs are the specific programs that focus on specific research areas, such as emerging technologies, nanotechnology, or health technologies. Okay, these are the listed impacts that can be generated for research programs. What are they? They are economic impacts, environmental impacts, social impacts, political impacts, cultural impacts, organizational impacts, and health impacts. Okay, here is a very brief literature review. And what are the expected impacts of technology platform, a Turkish photovoltaic technology platform? We will try to make our social impact assessment by focusing on this specific socioeconomic impacts, environmental impacts, and social and cultural impacts, in addition to political and legal impacts. Okay. So what are the socioeconomic impacts that are expected from Turkish photovoltaic technology platform? First of all, we expect to see positive impacts of this platform on domestic production and export because of promoting local manufacturing of equipment used to generate solar electricity. Okay, this platform will mainly focus on the inputs and the main output of solar panels that will be produced locally and in-house. So also we expect another positive impact of this platform as to prevent energy imports and support energy security in parallel to Turkish energy policy strategies. Also, we expect positive employment opportunities as this platform grows and develops the in-house technologies in solar energy generation. Okay. Also, as the projects in this platform proceed, we also expect cheaper cost rates in final products and inputs for solar electricity generation. Also, we expect national and international competitive power of producers, both for the inputs of solar, inputs of PV technology and the panel technology. Okay. Also, we expect positive contributions to growth and economic development in the long term. Okay. And we expect technological advantages and gains, especially raising from intellectual property rights that will be generated during the technology development activities of this platform. And also we expect developing new generation consumption models, such as prosumer model, by analyzing the social impacts of this platform. So these are the socioeconomic impacts that are expected to be evaluated during this Turkish photovoltaic technology platform. The environmental impacts are reducing carbon emissions, creating more sustainable and livable cities, supporting the development of electric transportation models, ensuring clean energy integration, and examining the energy transition and the role of clean energy in urban transformations. Also, we expect to evaluate the social and cultural impacts of increasing the volume of qualified human resources trained and equipped in emerging technology areas such as PV technologies. We expect to evaluate the societal gains that might arise with the development of new models in energy production and consumption. We also try to evaluate the awareness of the motivations for increasing the awareness of sustainable energy in society. And we will expect to observe and measure the effects of clean energy systems and intensive industrial production. And political and legal impacts are the last impact group. What are we expecting to evaluate in this group? Especially the technology-oriented and technology-specific improvements in the legal frameworks for promoting the technology development in renewable energy technologies. We are expected to evaluate local and distributed generation opportunities and the legal framework that is specific and appropriate for this kind of generation opportunities. And also, we will try to evaluate the diversification of clean energy applications based on legal implications. There are different methods of energy generation applications, and we can explore how they can be implemented in Turkish case by using this social impact assessment project. In conclusion, we will, by this research project, we will make a socioeconomic impact assessment of Turkish photovoltaic technology platform. It will start from January 2021, hopefully, and it will last for 4 years. That means it's a very long period of time for technology development. And we will make micro, meson, macro level impact analysis to measure and observe the socioeconomic impacts of this platform. And by using quantitative methods of general equilibrium models and questionnaires, and qualitative methods of focus group and in-depth interviews. So that's all for my presentation. I thank you for your interest and attention. This will be our interdisciplinary group of socioeconomic impact assessment of technology platform, Turkish photovoltaic technology platform. And you can see here the contact information. Again, I thank you for your interest and attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yelda. Now I am looking, but there is no question from audience. Can I ask one question also? First of all, I want to thank you for your contribution and for your efforts for technology platform. I'm sure it will be very useful and helpful for Turkey. Do you have some specific target for Turkey? Or this is only impact analysis?
This technology platform is a huge research program that has a budget of 50 million Turkish liras, and it has 11 separate research projects each one has a target of developing a specific technology for PV, such as the 4 different types of solar cells, different equipments to generate electricity from the panels, and the materials to be used in the panels, the cables, all of them. So this platform's main target is to increase the rate of local and in-house technology in this in those inputs and final output of panels. So this is the main target of the platform, and our main target in this platform as a member of this platform, as a social side member of the platform, is to assess how these technology development activities can be performed efficiently, and how these technology development activities can be improved one step further with the coming new research programs and new research targets in align with Turkish energy policies and technology development strategies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you again to Dr. Yelda. And now we will move for our third speaker, Metin Sever, from Middle East Technical University, and his talk will be on photovoltaic power plants financing models. Mr. Sever.
Hello, my name is Metin Sever, and I am graduate student program at Middle East Technical University in Ankara, Turkey. I will mention about photovoltaic power plants financing models today. This is my presentation's outline. Decrease in prices and increase in efficiency, solar electricity became more important. The volume of capital needed for a widespread transition towards a renewable energy economy will require increasing participation of financial investors and continued adoption of innovative financing techniques. Considering investment difficulties, financing models for renewable energy sources are of great importance, and realization of settlements can be realized by solving the financial problems of the investment. When we look to the levelized cost of energy of the solar photovoltaics, in 2009, solar photovoltaic levelized cost of energy was $359 per megawatt hour. In 2018, solar photovoltaic levelized cost of energy was $40. It means that solar photovoltaic levelized cost of energy decreased 89% in 10 years. The photovoltaic power plants fundamentally consist of photovoltaic models, mounting equipment, charge controllers, transformers, remote monitoring units, hedges, earthing equipment, and miscellaneous equipment. When we look to the photovoltaic power plants financing models, the first model is green bonds. What is green bond? The green bond is issuers undertake to use only the income they receive through bond issuance in environmental friendly projects, renewable energy projects, and so as the photovoltaic power plants are environmentally friendly projects. So the green bonds can be used for photovoltaic power plants financing. The green bond has four principles, and these are use of proceeds, project evaluation and selection process, management of proceeds, and reporting. These principles are voluntary and they are not must for a green bond issuer. The first green bond issued in 2007 by the European Investment Bank with the amount of $800 million. From the graph on the left, you can see the distribution of green bonds in usage areas. In 2019, $274 billion green bond issued. In 2020, $400 billion of green bonds are expected to be issued worldwide. In Turkey, it has so far been issued $350 million green bonds. And another financing model is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding model consists of three sides, and these are project owners, founders, and platform. The platform brings together the project owner and investors. Thus, investors and project owners can agree on the platform. Crowdfunding model has four types, and these are donation-based, reward-based, lending-based, and equity-based. Donation-based, and this type of crowdfunding model includes the project where funders do not have any expectation, including financial or non-financial return. Reward-based, in this model, the reward can be in the way of non-monetary material like the actual product or immaterial. Additionally, reward-based crowdfunding gives an opportunity to the supporters as first buyers, providing them receive created products by supported projects in the early stage at a reduced price or with other extra advantages. Lending-based crowdfunding, in which funds are offered as loans, is the most common model around the world. Funders provide money for a limited time by having an expectation of repayment. Equity-based, this model of crowdfunding proposes a deal for distribution of shares and a revenue sharing option to investors where they can get stocks of startup companies with a small amount of investment through an open call on the online platforms. In Turkey, crowdfunding based on share community was published in the official gazette on 3 October 2019 by Capital Market Board of Turkey. Another financing model is energy cooperatives. In many countries of the world, cooperatives operate under the influence of support mechanisms applied to promote electricity production from renewable energy sources. Renewable energy cooperatives have started to be established in many developed countries of the world with the contribution of successful incentive mechanisms such as fixed price guarantee. Although there are important differences in the policies of countries regarding electricity generation from renewable energy sources, cooperatives can operate in the energy sector under the same conditions as other types of companies. The first energy cooperative is German Greenpeace Energy Cooperative, founded in 1999. It has 166,000 customers, including 25,000 members. In 2018, cooperative produced 389 million kilowatt hour of electricity. Total investment has exceeded 140 million euros. Another financing model is project finance. Project finance provided by the banking sector, corporate finances companies, or international financial institutions. And we can give example to them, the World Bank and European Investment Bank, etc. And loans are considered to be the primary financing scheme used globally and frequently in combination with others. 20 or 30% of investment costs are covered by own capital, and 70 and 80% of investment costs are covered from financial institutions. The other financing model is renewable energy fund, and renewable energy funds can be created by both public and private sectors, and renewable energy funds development and financing of renewable energy projects. It includes photovoltaic power plants, and we can give an example to this, the Renewable Energy Venture Capital Fund in Australia with the portfolio of $120 million. In Turkey, Actis portfolio established in 2018 with $50 million volume, and the Actis portfolio invests in solar photovoltaic systems and returns from the Turkish Renewable Energy Support Mechanism. Annual return of fund is targeted to be 10%. And the last financing model is third-party ownership. The third-party ownership consists of two models, solar systems and electricity purchase contracts. Consumers have a solar power system on their homes for free by signing power purchase agreement with companies that install. Within the scope of the signed contract, the electricity consumer agrees to purchase the electrical energy produced on the roof. The Turkish Renewable Energy Support Mechanism for photovoltaic solar power plants, it gives 13.3 cents per kilowatt hour. It can be up to $20 for solar photovoltaic power plants with the local equipment support, and it gives the amount 10 years from the temporary admission date. And unlicensed production is currently not covered by this supporting mechanism. And in conclusion, of course, government's guarantee of purchase affects renewable energy investments positively because government purchase guarantees are especially important for banks and financial institutions. Considering that the most used financial model is loans, the positive approach of banks and financial institutions to investments is important. In terms of Turkey's current renewable energy supporting mechanism will be terminated at the date 30 June 2021. It will continue and be in Turkish liras, but the new price is not be disclosed, so this uncertainty can leave renewable energy investments in financially difficult situation. In Turkey, studies on carbon and renewable energy certificate markets continue. Thanks to these two markets, investors will be able to earn additional income from solar energy systems. Compared to green bonds issued in the world and Turkey, the amount of green bonds issued in Turkey seems to be very little. In later times, it is expected that amount of green bonds issued in Turkey will increase. Thus, investors in solar energy systems can find finance easier. Equity-based crowdfunding has not been used for energy sector yet in Turkey. This model is considered to be a good opportunity for startup companies operating in the field of solar energy. And the third-party ownership perspective, legislative work on third-party ownership continues in Turkey. And these are my references, and thank you for your attention.
We thank also to Mr. Sever for his presentation. And I am looking again, there is no question from audience, and we will continue by the next presenter, Raymond Bauweiser from Ege University, and his talk will be on correction design of the current of off-grid PV system in Yemen. Raymond?
Hello, everybody. Today, I'm going to present to you my conference paper titled by Correcting Design of the Current Off-Grid PV System in Aden City, Yemen. My name is Raymond Omar Bawazi. I am from Ege University, Izmir, Turkey. Introduction. The limited availability and environmental effects of fossil fuels, as well as their price fluctuations due to the political matters, have led to increased depending on renewable energy sources worldwide. In the year 2019, the total global capacity of renewable power jumped up to 1,437 gigawatt compared with 657 gigawatt in the year 2014. It is noteworthy that solar PV, concentrated solar power, and solar hot water have significant increase for the last 5 years as depicted in the figure. In general, merely 47% of the total population in Yemen have access to the electric grid, which is the worst grid service compared to other countries in Middle East as in the figure. The figure presents the share of population with electricity access in the Middle East for 2017. This problem has become worse since 2011, where the electricity generation of the power plants consequently has been considerably reduced. In the southern end of Arabian Peninsula, Asia continent, Yemen is located. Yemen has a semi-arid to arid tropical climate. The receiving average solar irradiation is around 5 to 7.22 kilowatt hour per meter square per day, with over 3,000 hours of clear blue sky per year. This study is conducted in Aden City with latitude 12.825 degree north and longitude with 45.037 degree east. It is the economic and the temporary capital in Yemen. Problem statement. The Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency reported that about 1 to 2 billion investments in residential solar energy systems from the year 2011 to 2016 in Yemen. Even though all implemented renewable electrification projects are based on the off-grid PV system, the prime issue of this system is the high capital cost. The objectives of this research in all aforementioned studies related to Yemen, the authors have provided solution for the installing of grid system to overcome the electricity deficit. However, none of the works have paid attention to the inside view of the stationary off-grid PV system design in terms of optimum annual tilt angle and how that affects the economic assessment. Therefore, these papers present off-grid PV system to cover broader issues that have not been addressed yet. Research method. In the flow chart shown in front of you, we have 4 techniques. These techniques present the tilt radiation models in MetaNorm software. These 4 models are used to present the solar radiation when we use optimum annual tilt angle. And also we are going to use zero optimum annual tilt angle, and we will compare between them in terms of prices to see what's the main difference between them, and we choose and how we are going to choose the best for our system in Yemen. Why we are going to use MetaNorm software? MetaNorm software is based on meteorological database containing comprehensive climatologically data for solar engineering design programs at location. MetaNorm is commercial computer program used for passive and active PV application of solar energy production. The first release MetaNorm was since 1985. The MetaNorm software database contains more than 8,000 weather stations worldwide. Depending on user requirements, it provides free choice of using computational models which are developed in international research programs. Here are some main features of MetaNorm described as below. The listeners can go through all of these later. Technical design of off-grid PV system. The design of a fixed off-grid PV system for family residential house is presented in this slide. It describes and sizes all major components of the system as depicted in the figure. The DC load is not part of the study. Furthermore, economic assessment is implemented to indicate the advantage of using the proposed method in the fixed PV system. Technical design equation. We start with load demand. Here, heavy loads like air conditioner, we are not going to, we don't consider it in our calculation. After this, area of PV array is calculated, and the number of the PV model is determined. Later, charge controller size is also calculated. After this, battery size and the number of batteries are also calculated by these provided equations. Later, inverter size. The inverter size should be equal or greater than total individual maximum loads. In our case, 590 watt. In this table, present the PV system component specifications based on Yemen market, including the prices. The listener can go through this table. Economic assessment of off-grid PV system. We are going to do economic analysis based on life cycle cost, annual life cycle cost, and unit electricity price. Result and discussion. Let us go to the next slide to have more details. In this table, present the solar radiation and optimum tilt angle in degree for Aden, Yemen. Here, the table presents 4 models to present the tilt solar radiations provided by Meton-Norm software. The values presented in red color for June and December indicate the minimum solar radiation in that month. As we can see from April to August, the horizontal solar radiation indicated by HG is greater than the solar radiation on the tilted panel in the 4 models. That means the solar radiations on horizontal panel 0 degree have 5 months solar radiation greater than others models when the PV panel is tilted by optimum tilt angle. In this table, we can go and see the number of PV models. Here we present the minimum solar radiation at that month, June or December, depends. For June is for the models, the models provided by Meton-Norm, and December is for the horizontal solar radiation, also is provided by Meton-Norm software. And after this, we calculate we do our technical design based on the average solar radiation, annual average solar radiation for the horizontal solar radiation and tilted solar radiation. So if we can see, if we are going, before this, we have to understand 2 things. The technical design can be designed based on the minimum solar radiation occurred in 1 month, or it can the PV system can design based on the annual average solar radiation. So if we are going to use minimum solar radiation, so in terms of horizontal solar radiation, the number of the PV model is high, 11 PV models. Also the minimum solar radiation occurs during tilted panel. We have the panel, the number of PV model is 10. How we come to the average solar radiation, we see we have for both cases either the panel is tilted at the optimum annual tilt angle or 0 tilted angle. We have 9 PV models. That's what we should keep it in our minds from that or from this table. So in economic assessment of off-grid, since we have less number of PV model when we use average solar radiation, either the PV panel is tilted or at zero angle, we can find when we use horizontal solar radiation at 0 degree, a PV model at 0 degree, we have the unit electricity price is 0.1358, which is the minimum cost can be obtained compared to other designs. The other design either by minimum solar radiation or by average solar radiation at the tilt PV panel, at the tilted PV panel. In calculation, at the end, even though many different researchers attempt to reduce off-grid PV system cost, it does not still satisfy the investor and user. This paper proved that the installation of PV model at tilted angle 0 is more economic than annual optimum tilted angle provided by Norm software. In addition, other advantages can be obtained from proposed economic installation as listed below. The application of a PV system will be increased widely. The method will lessen the efforts to evaluate the PV potentials. In the PV system, shading problems are mitigated and the less required installation area. In this slide, we have our references. The listener can go through all of these. They are 41 reference. And thank you for your listening.
I thank also to Mr. Pvcon for his presentation. And now our last speaker, Mrs. Elşen Aydın from Middle East Technical University, Günam. Her presentation will be on a concentrating mini solar power system to overcome the market share.
Hello, my name is Elşen Aydın from Middle East Technical University and Günam. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who meticulously prepared this platform, and I would also like to express my gratitude to Bülent Akınoğlu and Rashid Turan, one of the precious professors of Günam, who gave me the chance to make a presentation on this platform. Firstly, I want to talk about myself a little bit. I received my undergraduate and graduate degree as an engineer from the METÜ, and I am still a PhD student in archaeometry department. In addition, I am working as an engineer in the economic cogeneration by efficiently concentrated sunlight project, which is an European Union project led by Bülent Akınoğlu at Günam. The project was created to commercialize concentrated photovoltaic systems that are rapidly losing their place in the market. As part of the project, we did some preliminary experiments to observe the changes in temperature caused by concentrated solar energy on the standard silicon solar cell. This experiment and the results we obtained from this presentation, it is the subject. And let me move on. Concentrated photovoltaic system provide an effective means of reducing the cost of electricity generation by reducing the amount of the silicon required. Fresnel lenses are one of the typical design options for the concentrated PV system. Although the use of the photovoltaic is very popular in the market, it needs to be analyzed very well when it comes to commercialization in concentrated systems. As it is known, limited use of solar energy is used in the PV cell. For this reason, research have been made in this area with concentrated sunlight in order to get higher efficiency from PV systems, but they couldn't find enough space in the market, especially Fresnel lens system. In fact, efficient use of heat energy generated in concentrated systems will prevent waste. And by using this heat energy that damages the silicon cell, the solar cell will be more efficient and long-lasting. For this reason, CPV system, concentrated photovoltaic system, have been the subject of concern, and in this way, research has become more attractive to further improve the efficiency of solar energy. Although in fact Fresnel lenses specifically have been commercialized, they are not well researched in the photovoltaic application. As can be seen from the schematic view of the standard Fresnel lens in the figure, the Fresnel lens takes the focal point behind the lens's surface. This provides a convenience for the installation of PV cell and also eliminates the shading problem caused by the PV cells. The first Fresnel lenses were manufactured in 1822. Later, a lot of research was done to lead the idea combining the Fresnel lens concept with the photovoltaics to create a Fresnel photovoltaic thermal concentrator. In 2006, the effect of chromatic aberration on two different Fresnel lenses was measured and compared by Steiner and his colleagues. In addition, efficiency and performance were analyzed for different distance between cell and lenses. And then in 2010, Araki and colleagues studied the performance improvement of 30 kilowatt built power plant equipped with the sun Fresnel lenses same year. Fresnel lens concentrated, and the another study, Sonneveld and his colleagues tested Fresnel lens concentrators, and the Prus and his colleagues proposed the solar condensation technology using a Fresnel lens mounted in a triple junction cell. The size of this device was like a laptop that could be carried with backpack. And last one, in the 2012, Priere and his colleagues characterized the performance of the Fresnel lens concentrator with a 1024 cells concentration ratio. And after a brief literature knowledge, I want to move on our preliminary simple testing with Fresnel lens under 70 SAM. As you can see, our Fresnel lens, which was used in the system, and we calculate the concentration ratio, as you can see, with the geometric concentration ratio formula. This formula is easy to use when the aperture dimension is known. And our Fresnel lens was square, and it is area 900 centimeter square, and our focal area is 12.8, and the focal diameter is 4 centimeter. In Günam, such a CPVT system with Fresnel lens was constructed 5 or 6 years ago, I think, and we plan to use one cell of this system to carry out some experiment to get prepared beforehand using the Fresnel lens, we focus the sun to small cell of 1 centimeter square, as you see in this picture. And you can also see the focal area and the uniformity of it. By the way, our Fresnel lens and the solar cell are not clean, and the cell has no load. The interesting part of when we measured the temperature of the cell front face under about 70 illumination, 370 Celsius degree was reached in a few seconds, and it cools down about 46 Celsius degrees in a 5 minutes under 1 sun. And after obtaining the first data, we improved the system a little more and set up the system again with a new cell of 1 centimeter square again. And the system consists of a closed circuit water pump for cooling and a heat sink placed inside the cell, the cool of it. And we placed the thermocouple at the back of the cell to measure the temperature of the cell and used a multimeter to see the current flowing through the cell. First of all, when we measure the temperature of cell without pump under 1 sun, I mean without using cooling, it was measured 25 Celsius degrees, and the current was measured at 40.6 milliampere. When the pump operating under 1 sun with cooling, the temperature cell dropped 42 Celsius degrees. The temperature of cell didn't change when the pump operated with 10 volt. And when we make the same measurements under 470 sun by running the cooling system, the result as follows. While the pump is working 2 volts, the temperature of the cell is 44 Celsius degrees and the current is 126.3 milliampere. And while the pump is working with 5 volts, the temperature of cell is 43 Celsius degrees and the current measured nearly the same. And while pump is working 10 volt, the temperature of cell is 44 Celsius degree. I mean, was not changed, and the current is nearly same. In this way, the system worked 4 minutes, but it was intermittent. Was no temperature change. When we stopped the pump, the temperature of the cell was read as 42 degrees, and when we started the pump immediately with 2 volt, the temperature of cell remained at 45 degrees for 45 seconds. In other words, even if the flow rate is low, the temperature remained at the same point. And by the way, I would like to point out that the heat sink design doesn't belong to us. It consists of fluid channels and running under the copper plate, and the cell is placed on the copper plate. As it is known, copper is a material with very high heat conduction, and the cell is soldered onto this copper plate. As a result, when the cooling system works, the temperature has reached thermal equilibrium at 45 degrees, and the operating speed of the pump for this system doesn't have a significant effect on the cell temperature. I mean, as you remember, the fact that the pump operates at 2 volt, 5 volt, and 10 volt do not have a vital importance on the temperature of the cell. However, cooling is a vital for concentrated system. Therefore, concentrated system should be supported with cooling system in terms of the efficiency and longevity of silicon cell. In addition, since the amount of silicon solar cell used in CPVT system decreases, it will be possible to find a place in the market by reducing the cost of the silicon solar cell with new study. Here, this is my references, and if you have any questions, I can answer them. Thank you for listening and your attention.
Very much, and Şenaydın, also for your presentation. Now I am looking, but there is no question from audience, and I'm going to close the session. I want to thank again to all our speakers for their contribution, and also to all audience being with us. I want to thank also to all speakers that they used their time efficiently, so our session will be over earlier than expected. See you for the next session. I wish you healthy days.